Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Welcome to a 12 Days of the Comic Source episode. This year for 2025, Fireside Chats with 12 of my favorite comic creators. So, of course, I had to have Phillip Kennedy Johnson on to talk about all the exciting announcements recently and the books he's working on. And so just happy to share this holiday time with you, Phillip. Thanks for taking the time, man.
Man, thanks for letting me. I'm honored that I made your top 12.
Yeah, 100%. When I decided I was doing these fireside chats this year, you were, high on my list of people that I wanted to have come on because you've just been killing it. I got to talk to you at San Diego Comic-Con about the upcoming, at that time, Book of L. We touched on Batman and Robin. It was a DC interview, so we didn't necessarily touch on Hulk, but you've been killing it on the Hulk issue 30, which you shared with me a little early at New York Comic Con, and now I've had a chance to read it. It was amazing. We have Infernal Hulk, which, interest of full disclosure, everybody, as we're recording this, the first issue has not come out yet, but by the time you hear this, it will have come out. So yeah, just really, really exciting times. And I know that you were a military man for many years, a musician, and you've since retired from that. So full time into the writing of comics. You must just feel blessed, man. From the first time I had you on, when you'd only done a few things, to how your career has grown, because we do want to kind of touch on the overview of your career. Just how are you feeling right now about where you are in your life and your career?
Well, I mean, you said blessed, man. That's true. I feel really, I'm really content with where I am. I've been so fortunate to be a part of the music industry, which is also a hard one to get into. Now I'm doing comics. Is similarly tricky and just takes a lot of work. And I don't know. There's other things I want to do for sure, but I don't think I'm ever going to let comics go. I still play music too, but writing right now is definitely the focus. And I'm not really thinking about the medium so much. It's just storytelling. Like I would love to work in other mediums too, but I've been so fortunate to get to tell these amazing stories at DC and Marvel with all my first heroes, which is just a uniquely powerful feeling. I don't know. It's just I just could not be more fortunate, and I know how fortunate I've been, and I just don't want to waste a second. I want readers to know how seriously I take it, and that I know how lucky I am. I will never phone it in. Like the schedule gets really packed, and there are times when I'm fighting the clock. And times when I have more work to do than I can do. Like days that feel like 10-pound bag of shit in a 5-pound bag, as they say in the land of my people. But I will never phone it in. I always know what those comics mean to people because I know what they meant to me, and I just want people to know I won't let them down or half-ass it ever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Between my day job and then running the podcast, there are times where I just have so much to do. It's like you don't even know where to.
You do.
You don't even know where to start. You're like, oh my god. But the key is just to start. Just get one thing done, and then the next thing, and just put
for those who don't know you know what you do. I'll say like Jace reached out to me when he was in town for a day job thing, and we got to have dinner once, and you were telling me about your day job and how busy that keeps you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of cool to hear someone else kind of talking through how busy because you're in comics for the love of the game, and I respect that. I love that. I love that you're a part of this community in such a present way, and that it would be so much easier for you to set it down, but you don't because you care about it, and I love that, and I respect it, and I understand it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, to me, you're one of us. Yeah, you're on the other side when you're writing, but you're a fan. You started as a fan of comics, you grew up reading them and everything, and when I talk to guys like you, or Jeremy Adams is another one, Chris Condon, these guys that came up reading them, and you guys are never going to phone it in because, as you said, you do it for the love of the medium and what have you, and it just, when I was getting ready to talk to you, I was like, oh man, all these recent books that Philip's done, I'm like, you're the one guy, you are writing the two pillars of DC. You're currently writing a Batman book and a Superman book. Like, that's just how nobody else is doing that. And that's just so cool to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll never take that for granted. It's still it's a job, right? Like you're working, and there are like any job, there are frustrating moments. There's times when there's not time to do stuff you want to do, and misunderstandings or collaborations that go differently than you envisioned. Like there's always work stuff that comes up, but man, there's always that thing underneath it all where I understand what I'm doing and how much it would mean to my little kid self if I knew,
Yeah.
and that gratitude just makes every little complication go down so much easier.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm just really lucky.
Yeah, well, let's actually start with Batman, because the last time that we chatted, like I said, at San Diego Comic-Con, we talked a little bit about Memento and, what you're building there, and we really focused a lot on the father-son relationship, which obviously is at the center of your book. We hadn't at that time had a chance to talk about the next arc, because obviously it hadn't taken place yet, and we were introduced to this new, I don't even want to call him a villain, I'm just going to call him an antagonist, the Quiet Man, because...
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, because as a father, I can really, he lost his son, he's out for, revenge or justice or redemption or however you want to put it, but I can easily see myself in his shoes. And there was even a line in the latest issue where he scolds Batman. He's like, you're putting your son out here in harm's way, this kid in harm's way. Like, what are you doing, man? And as somebody who, recently lost his son, that's very raw for him. But it's such an interesting character. And, you have a close relationship with your son, as we've talked about in the past. So a lot of yourself in the Quiet Man, it must be easy to write him, his perspective and what have you.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce a character that's a little more gray. Like somebody who's not a clear villain really, but not, you can't call him a hero,
Right.
but somebody, I don't know. Like I tried to ask the question, like, what if Crime Alley happened to just a normal guy and somebody who didn't have Alfred or the Manor or millions in the bank or um, just these endless resources or even the genetic gifts or intellect that a Bruce Wayne would have. What if you're just a guy with a truck and a rifle and this happens and then you're left to take the fall for it, and then like what do you do then? Like what's somebody who feels the same need for justice that Batman felt, but doesn't have all the comic booky trappings that make that possible to make yourself into a hero? What if all you have is just this need for justice? What would you do? And I just wanted to see what Batman would do in a situation like that. And it's also it gave us a cool opportunity for a kind of a, to a lesser degree, but almost like a long Halloween kind of setup where we get to see different characters from Batman's Rogues Gallery and how they all kind of play off of each other in this particular mystery. To introduce characters that I personally want to see on the page. I love Two-Face. I think Two-Face is just cool as shit. And my favorite part of the animated series was always Scarface. Do you remember the Scarface stuff in the animated show?
Yeah.
I was so enamored with how, I don't know, I just kept thinking about those issues. I love how they kind of kept you wondering throughout the episodes if Scarface was real, if he was actually talking and thinking, if he was his own thing. Like it made it clear, like surely this is just a guy with a puppet, but then something would happen that made you question it, and you're never entirely sure. I love that. I mean, the fact that kind of colored the Memento arc as well. Like I wanted to have a supernatural element to it, but I never wanted to really 100% say on the page, this is definitely a supernatural creature. I wanted there to be just enough doubt. Like maybe it's just a guy in a mask. Like maybe it's actually just this guy that's been out for justice or out for revenge for a generation. Maybe it's the hallucinogenics. Maybe it's whatever. I just love that uncertainty. Like some of my favorite creepy stories all have that uncertainty where it kind of leaves it up to the reader or the viewer or the gamer or whatever to decide what's real and what's not. And I just love that. So that was another one of the things I kind of took from that Scarface episode. And it just made me really want to bring Scarface into this story.
Yeah, it's great because it mirrors life is not tied up in nice, neat bows with concrete answers all the time, and so it kind of reflects that, which is really cool. And the other part about the Memento arc, which I really loved, was the flashbacks. And I think the Lautrec character, she was awesome, and I almost hope that she comes back as like a romantic interest for Bruce at some point. That would be
I hope so too. I love her.
But yeah, when you mentioned the Scarface, the other thing that was so interesting, because we literally just talked about it. Well, it's going to be a few weeks now as everybody hears this, but as we're recording it, it was just last week that the final issue of Batman Dark Patterns that Dan Waters put out, and Scarface played a role in that, even where like the apartment building itself was Scarface. And I asked that same question that you're asking. I'm like, it brings up that question is like, are Wesker and Scarface like two different, like, is Scarface actually like a sentient, like, being, entity? It makes you wonder, but
Right.
there's no answer, and different writers can play with that in different ways. Dan played with it in one way, and you're playing with another.
Yeah. It's so the Dark Patterns book is a great one, and it kind of illustrates a funny problem in comics is that it's every book you see on the shelf is coming out is getting made so quickly. Every book is like one migraine away from not existing. Like
Yeah,
everyone's just right on the edge of putting out every book that you've ever read. And I did not know that Dan is even like a good friend of mine. Dan and I have very similar aesthetics. Like we trade book recommendations. We love all the same shit, and he's even a jujitsu guy. Like we do a lot of the same stuff in our regular lives. He's a great dude, and we get along great. I did not know that Scarface was going to be in this book, and if I'd known, I might have done something a little differently. I wanted to see some Scarface love on the page, and I didn't know that there was going to be another Scarface book coming out at the same time as mine. It's just kind of funny because people have been comparing his Batman run to mine already, and it was just funny that we both came to Scarface at the same time.
yeah. And it's not like anything that he did is contradicting anything you did, or vice versa, because his is supposed to be set a little bit earlier than yours.
Yeah,
Obviously.
exactly.
But
Even if
yeah,
it did, even if there's contradictions, I don't care about that stuff as much as some do. Like nobody, like literally no one goes through their comic collection. Like I'm going to read all the July
right,
2025
yeah.
comics today. It's all they're read in trade or all in a as an arc on a digital medium or something. So somebody's going to read Dan Waters' Dark Patterns book and they're going to read mine separately, and no one's going to care when they came out. So even if they contradict a little bit, it didn't really. Those things don't really bother me like they do some people.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother, unless they're supposed to tie in, and then you have plot. Then that's
Exactly.
another thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly right. Like if there are books like, as you say, Dark Patterns isn't taking place in like quote unquote continuity exactly with the other books that are on the shelf. Like the costume doesn't have to match.
right, yeah,
You don't if we blow up the Iceberg Lounge in my book, it doesn't have to be burning in his, that kind of thing. So anyway, but even when those things happen, it only matters for like 10 seconds.
yeah. The other thing that, getting back to the Quiet Man, the other thing I loved, you talk about kind of wanting to see you in what would the consequences of like a crime alley like situation with the parents being killed, or son being killed in this case, happen to a regular guy, that he doesn't have some like flamboyant costume. He's just wearing like regular clothes. So was
Right.
that something that you had in mind? You've had some great artists, in the book, especially like Miguel. I'm good friends with Miguel Mondoka. Like, him and I
Oh, good, man.
go way back. Like we met at WonderCon when he was trying to break in. He was at WonderCon like meeting editors like years and years ago.
No way. Holy
Yeah,
crap. I didn't know that.
yeah. He did a
I'll have to
Superman.
mention that next time I
Yeah,
see him.
yeah. He did a Superman commission for me. He's just an awesome guy. But anyway, that must have been like the visual aesthetic of Quiet Man, and having him just in regular clothes must have kind of played in. So was there a little bit of back and forth in character design with your artist for the book?
Actually, no. I had a very clear idea what I wanted him to look like. I sent. Actually, who do you think I would have? What do you imagine I might have given as art rough for Quiet Man? Do you have any idea?
For like just a regular guy, like well, based on what he looks like, because at first I was gonna say like maybe he's not that big. 'Cause I was thinking like The Rock and Walking Tall, but maybe more like a
All right.
like a Liam Neeson, like in
That's it.
yeah, I
That's
can see
exactly
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, you see him later. He does look kind of jacked in the art I just got, but yeah, I gave him clothes reference of Liam Neeson from like the old days from Next of Kin. You remember that movie with
oh yeah,
Patrick
yeah,
Swayze?
yeah, yeah,
Like these rednecks going to the city and start killing
yeah,
dudes.
yeah.
But as far as how he looks himself, I was giving him reference from him in the last 5 or 10 years. There was a movie he did called, what was it? The Good Thief or the Something Thief?
Yeah, I saw
I can't
that. It
remember.
was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, and there's another one from around the same time where he's a
This,
relatively older guy, but still in good shape, like holding a rifle, that kind of thing, like wearing
yeah.
like regular dude clothes. I gave a lot of reference of Liam Neeson, like clean shaven with his hair a certain way, holding a rifle. Um,
Yeah,
but also like
there's a movie that Neeson did where he was a snowplow driver. That's
I
one
think
that,
I think I
yeah,
included that in there as
yeah,
well. I can't remember the name of the movies now, but anyway, so yeah, a lot of Liam Neeson reference, which is clearest in that first issue, especially like he cut. And I love how like Fico draws his nose so busted, like just like
yeah,
he should. Yeah, I don't know. So his, as you say, usually the characters look more theatrical, and the theatrical element of his design in this one is more the silver dollars that he places in the eyes of the dead, and the gospel that he's like the unusual gospel that he's speaking as he's doing all this stuff. Like he's I've been in these little mountain towns that are really secluded. Like sometimes there are a lot of towns in the mountains of Kentucky that are kind of hard to get to. Like the roads to get there are super twisty and windy. Like
yeah.
before they started just cutting slices right through mountains, they would go
Go
with the
around.
contours of the
Yeah,
land,
yeah,
and you'd find like an old, dying coal mining town or something, and there's no corporate chains or anything in town. It's just like regular stores with people's names on them. And sometimes you'll find really unusual accents or little tricks of speech, things they don't say in other places in those areas. And I've been fascinated by that. So this particular guy lays silver dollars in the eyes of the dead, and those dollars are worth a fortune because they're extremely rare. They're nowhere except in this one little valley. So those things kind of make him distinct without making him like a cartoon.
yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanted for this particular character.
Yeah, I love. I've said it 1,000 times. I love your world building and the fact that you think about all this stuff, and it comes through in the character in subtle ways. It's not always room to overtly kind of tell people. But I
Right.
love it, and it's a perfect transition to get into your Adventures of Superman book, right? Because there we're really talking about a lot of lore and a possible future history for the DCU, but it's also something that it's tied into everything you've done from War World to your War Journal, and now into the future state stuff that you did. Like it's all together with Olgarin and the kind of the mythology of the House of El and what have you. So again, we talked about it a little bit at San Diego, kind of previewing it. And now we've had the first kind of 3 issues out. We see Superman in a far possible future. We've met some of his descendants. We know who the big there's almost 2 big bads. There's almost 3 sides to things. We have Brainiacs, we have Krillix. But the one thing that I wanted to ask you about was, this thing did get delayed in order to have it come out at a time that made more sense editorially. So I imagine it's all done. How was it? Was it easier to build it? Like thinking back to building on it, like is it easy to remember? Because it must be weird to write something so long ago and have it coming out now.
Yeah, it's we didn't want it to butt up against any of the other stuff coming out. Like we wanted Dan Slott's book, to have its own space for its own thing, and we didn't want the Brainiac stuff to come out so soon after Brainiac Queen. And there was just, I don't know, there was just like we thought we might have overplayed the Superman hand a little bit for earlier in the year, and so we decided to sit on it. It's I don't know. It's been getting made at a more leisurely pace because of the delay. But now it's back onto like a more monthly kind of schedule where it's the train's moving at its usual speed now. Um, no, it's honestly in comics. It seems like whenever there's time available, it gets taken up with something.
Something else,
Like
yeah.
it never really felt like a lull. It's just filled up with other stuff. But one thing that did get added is when I first conceived of the book, there was not going to be any back matter. It was just the comic.
Mm.
And then at a certain point, I realized I was asking for a lot on the page, a lot of world building, like probably like borderline too much. And I just felt like I was starting to write Alan Moore scripts as people
Right.
discuss them. I mean, I've never actually seen I think I saw a page that somebody just like posted online, but I've never seen a legit Alan Moore script like from his hand or anything. I'm told that there is a ton of direction on the page, and I kind of lean that way myself sometimes when I'm really invested in a book, which is basically always. Um, but I excuse myself with it because I also make it clear in the script, like, hey, this is just me telling you a story so that you can tell a story.
Right.
That was a line that I saw in a Bendis script when I was just coming on to Superman. He said that to an artist, and I really liked that. So I'm very clear and thorough in my scripts usually, but I try to be clear to the artists that they don't have to use all of it, that they can, add a panel or take a panel away if it helps them. If they can take any of this detail from this scene that they want to use and discard the rest. I don't want them to feel like they're working for me. I don't want them to
Yeah,
feel like
pencil
I'm not
monkey.
making. Yeah, exactly. I'm not making demands. This is just what I see, and then you can take whatever you want from it. I was doing a lot. I was probably going a little too far with some of that, and I was like, well, what if we did this instead? And I imagined it's called Book of L. What if I actually write more of? I was already writing part of what I envisioned as the Book of L that told the story of Superman's lineage and his heritage and his legacy that would outlive him. What if we just put some of that in the actual interiors and then actually include a couple of pages of back matter in each issue as well? Now it takes some of the load off of Scott, the artist. So anyway, it just kind of became a different thing where we're actually showing more of the book itself in the comic. And then by the time this comic is finished, and this is going to be the capstone to my second omnibus, there will be like a New Testament of Superman to put in the back of that book for people that want it, that they can see the story, these chronicles written by Jimmy and Kara and Lois and Bila Esh and all these others that make up, Superman's legacy after he's gone.
Yeah,
So
and
anyway,
it's such a great idea too, because when we sit here and talk about like Superman, the first superhero, he's not known, worldwide. We saw the success of the Superman movie, earlier this year, Summer of Superman, what have you. So to explore that, but in a different way, again, showing a possible future, showing possible descendants. I love the kind of the mirrored aspect of the twins that he's got from War World, Osul and Otha. That kind of mirrored against the twins of the future with Rowan and Ronan.
yeah, right.
And that's interesting. And also the dichotomy between, okay, here's the legacy of Superman, and it's continuing in the future, but he's gone to a future where in a lot of ways, like his values have lost. Like Brainiac is the one in control, the Luthor of
Right.
Metropolis and what have you. But there's still resistance, so his spirit and the idea of him is still continuing. But it's so it's so different. And then when you add in that third aspect of Krillux, who's in a lot of ways he's kind of a twisted, different version of Superman as well. He's somebody that's lost everything, just like Superman, but he's choosing to go about like how he reacts to that in a different way, almost the exact opposite way of Superman. Instead of choosing to accept and try to be his best, he's like railing against it and trying to turn back time in a way.
Completely, yeah. Like the story is not just Superman opposing Krillux; it's about him saving him as well. As you say, he's kind of a twisted mirror image of Superman himself. He's somebody who lost his world, similar to how Superman lost his. Instead of from the explosion of Krypton, he lost it from War World, and he's just so angry about it, and he'll do anything to get them back. And that kind of reflects what happened to Olgrin, God of Gods. How he was tricked by his brother and ended up, kind of tricked into killing his daughter essentially, and just goes crazy from it and is prepared to destroy all creation to get her back. And Krillux is kind of growing into that himself as he takes part of Olgrin into himself. He finds himself adopting that worldview as well. And so instead of honoring his lost family with his quest for truth and justice, he's like, I'm just going to undo it. I will amass whatever power is necessary to undo everything. I will destroy all there is to bring back my children.
Yeah,
And
it's such
man,
a cool concept.
I'd like to say that I'm better than that, but I mean, if you lost your son, what would you do?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, man. To me, I'm not going to say my son is all I care about, but
yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
I love him an awful
yeah.
lot.
And I think the people that say, oh, I would never do such a thing, I'm like, man, until you're in that situation, you do not know. Because you just,
Yeah.
I mean, just a tremendous loss. And
there's a great game called The Last of Us, and without spoiling the game for everyone, it's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
But,
it was even
there's
a show, I think they adapted.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, the show's terrific, and it does capture what happened in the game pretty much. So at the end of the game, you have to make a decision like that, and people kind of talk smack about it at the game, like, oh, you're the main character is the bad guy. What the hell? I'm like, dude, if a parent would do, there's no other choice
Yeah.
for a real parent than what happened here.
Yeah.
So anyway, this book kind of explores that too. Like, what would you do? And just again, it's just just exploring that side of Superman, like how he understands that. Like to me, I understand. To me, I feel like there are people out there that are true villains. There are villains in the world that are irredeemable, people that I wish didn't exist. Um, but Superman is better than that. Superman understands that there are no villains, and that we're all just afraid or misled or led astray, or he's not just trying to defeat Krill Hooks, he's trying to save him. And even the thing with the arc that we just saw play out with Brainiac might not end the way you expect. So I don't know. That's if there was one thing that I wish we could all, including myself, that we could all learn from Superman, I wish that we could all understand that there are no villains really. That Superman loves all of us, even the people that I hate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so many people victims of circumstance and that sort of thing. And that's the other part is because when Superman first meets Krillux, I mean, these events haven't taken place, and so he's in a much different place and that sort of thing. And that kind of leads me to my next thing, because I said it before, like it feels like so much of your DC work is one big story. I mean, I don't think you could have known you were going to get this the opportunity to do this Book of El book. You did continue somewhat of what you were doing with Olgren and what have you in the War Journal book with John Stewart, which ties in, and that also ties in with what we're saying with him creating, a sentient construct of his sister, which that brings in all kinds of moral questions. So,
right.
When such world building, so how do you? Like, how is that built in your head? You always just, okay, now I'm going to tell a Green Lantern story. I'm going to pick up threads of what I did here or how this will work or what have you. Like, it just fascinates me because, again, your world building is so detailed.
No, thanks, man. I mean, it's this is something that I kind of learned from my favorite fantasy novelists, but also from the best games that I've played. From I don't know, any kind of a medium in which world building is even a thing. I love it when a world feels like it's there, whether I'm looking at it or not. Like whether or not I was just right before I jumped on here, I was teaching a Kubert school writing class. Like I do class Wednesday nights, and here in the past this Wednesday I just taught my class, and I was talking about this exact thing where somebody had a world building thing in their story that was just kind of basic and surface level. And I told them, like, whenever there's something that's surface level, it shows. Like, don't call it this. Let's do a little digging. So if this is the circumstance, answer this question with another question and talk about why the world is this way. And then answer that question with another question. Just keep going down the rabbit hole until you've got a world that starts to feel more real. I don't know if you're not actually spoon feeding answers to the reader, it just makes everything feel so much more real and lived in. Like it makes them want to look around corners because they want to see what's there. If everything is being spoon fed to you, you know the answers are coming and you don't have to look any deeper. But if you look at the art and you see, oh, suddenly the architecture is different, or suddenly this person seems to be speaking with an accent I've never heard before, even though I don't know what that is. Or this person's name clearly comes from some language that is not English. Like just little things that are not explained. If they're presented to you but kind of ignored the way that we do in real life, then it makes you want to look deeper. Things like, so a left-handed boxer is called a southpaw. Nobody ever explained to me what that means. Mm-hmm. I had to kind of go look it up because I was curious about it. That's how I find storytelling to be. I want the world to seem richer and deeper. So anyway, I didn't set out to connect Green Lantern to my Superman story. I just kind of found an opportunity to do so. There was a chance to make an organic connection that made sense, that made the world that made the world seem bigger rather than smaller. I don't know, like just introducing one of the many God aspects of Algren in another book. Just was like a little reward for all my Superman readers. And I didn't tell anyone that I was going to put it in there. I just kind of did it. And then when people saw it, they got so excited
Yeah, it was
about it.
cool.
And I did something like that in Batman and Robin as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So sometimes you put little possible Easter eggs in your stories as you're writing them, and maybe you get to pay it off later. Maybe you don't, but at least you have the opportunity. But it's like planting a seed, right? It can flower later.
Yeah, when you start to ask the questions about whether Memento is a supernatural creature or not, there's a flashback where we see Batman and Etrigan are like investigating the past, and you see that dude's name, Nicodemus Crow, I think, like the guy from like the cult leader from the 1890s.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing this Aleister Crowley kind of spell or ritual, and he says something that ties in with the God aspects of Algren potentially.
Yeah,
and I just wanted that open question for my readers, like, oh shit, is that what I think it was?
Yeah. You know who else does that a lot? Plants Easter eggs like that is Jeremy Adams. He does that a lot, and then it pays off in another.
Jeremy's become one of my best friends in comics.
Oh,
He's
really?
such a good, positive dude.
Yeah, he's great.
He just loves comics, and I don't know, he's just a great guy, and does a really nice job in this stuff. I thought he's very well suited to animation, what he was doing before, but he's well suited to comics too, and I'm just really happy to see him succeeding.
Yeah, I mean, he's, again, one of us, a huge comic fan. He'll be on one of these Fireside chats as well, everybody. He may already, I have no idea what order I'm going to release this in, so you may have already seen that. But yeah, I do want to touch a little bit on your Hulk stuff as well. And there's an announcement that's coming up in between that, so the news will already have been out.
News will be out.
News will be out, but we'll talk about it at the end as well. But before we do that, I have to ask you about this book because it was such a departure from, I think a lot of your superhero work, but it was so well done, and kind of taps in, when you said you and Dan Waters have similar sensibilities, I definitely get that vibe in Crocodile Black from Boom, which was really kind of a horrific story, and another one of those stories that kind of operates in the gray area. Put yourself in this guy's shoes. What would you do? That sort of thing. So, what was it like dipping into the horror side of things and stepping away from the big two to tell this story over at Boom?
Well, it felt important. I feel like as a creator in the comic space, I mean, when I first started doing this job, basically almost everyone gets into this as a creator-owned writer or artist, and then they kind of get discovered to do the more corporate stuff at DC and Marvel or some other licensed property. If you get the opportunity to do both, it feels important to do both. If I'd only ever gotten to do creator-owned, it still would have been awesome, and I was perfectly content to only stay in creator-owned. I remember one time, like early on in my time at Boom Studios, where I started doing my creator-owned thing. Somebody asked one of the people, I think it was the film development guy, was like, "Has Marvel or DC reached out yet?" Like he was just sure they were gonna, and I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I don't see that happening." I just figured I was always going to be here, and I was content to be here, and because I love telling my own stories, like building my own IP. It did reach out and it worked out. And now that I'm here, it's really important to do both. Like the two hands kind of wash each other. I feel like doing big properties at DC and Marvel are great to find new readers and to show people that you can really do this. And then hopefully you make some fans and they follow you to your personal IPs, and then they read the stories like Crocodile Black or like Last Sons of America or Warlords of Appalachia or Smoketown, the things I've done elsewhere. And that's where you kind of show what you're made of as a writer, as a storyteller. Like what are the stories that really move you, that you feel compelled to tell on your own steam, and it really shows where you really flex your muscles in a way that you might be a little more fettered at DC and Marvel. Although that's what people say, but I've never really felt fettered at DC or Marvel at all. I still try to tell stories that matter to me a lot, with Hulk and Superman and Hell Hunters and everything else. Those are all stories that matter deeply to me. But yeah, it feels important to do both. And this particular story felt important because I felt like comics generally really missed the mark during COVID. and there's an opportunity there to tell really important stories about the human condition and what we were all going through. And most of us didn't. Like when I was picking up comics during that time, I felt like everyone was really scared to talk about it. Almost
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. It was almost like we were living it, so we didn't want to. We wanted comics as an escape from it, as opposed to exploring it. You know what I mean?
That I think that was kind of the consensus.
Yeah,
I personally did not feel that way. I thought it was really like a missed opportunity artistically, but I totally understand that people didn't want to do that. People didn't want to scare readers away with. It's like no one's doing books right now about how much politics sucks.
yeah,
You know, because we know that we're living it every day.
yep.
So I understand, but I kind of kicked around this idea for a story. Actually, I was listening to a podcast called The Daily,
Hmm.
which is something that the New York Times puts out. It's a daily podcast as per the name, but on every Sunday, it's like a personal interest thing. A lot of it is more like news oriented, but on Sunday, it's just this thing about people. And there was one on that particular Sunday during COVID where a guy died in his apartment. I don't even think it was from COVID. It was like, I can't remember what happened, but the guy died and he didn't have any kind of family. This is in New York City. And it's just about what happens when that happens. And it talked about the people kind of going through his stuff and boxing things up and looking for some kind of like clues to next of kin or something. And this poor old guy, he had there was a shoebox there with a pair of boots in it that was unopened. He'd never worn them. And for whatever reason, I was listening to this podcast, and that part of it stuck out to me, and I don't know why. I just kind of envisioned the guy that took those boots and bagged them up. And in my imagination, I was like, what if that guy just put them on, they fit, and he just wore them and went home?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking about that, and the story kind of kept spooling out further and further the more I thought about like what happens next. And eventually it became this story, like a COVID era psychological crime story about somebody who takes this guy's crocodile skin boots and kind of wears them as his mask almost. He ends up squatting at this guy's place. Like nobody knows he's dead except this kid. And he goes back there and he squats there and he kind of becomes obsessed with him. And so it's kind of about the power of masks. It's kind of about mental illness. It's kind of about just what we all went through together, the whole sheltering in place thing and how it affected all of us. It's kind of about the great resignation that happened during that time where a lot of people during COVID, about 2 years in, started giving up their shitty entry-level jobs or their college degree that they didn't want to do, and they just kind of chased their dreams because the world's ending anyway, so why not?
Yeah.
It's about that. It's about a loser with no prospects who's just delivering groceries on an app and hates his house, hates his dad, hates his job. And then he finds this dead guy in his home wearing crocodile skin boots, and he finds his true calling as a dangerous man.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story, and I totally got that, dealing with trauma and the isolation of COVID. But even at a higher level, the way I relate it to is just about identity, right? Like the way our self-identity, even more than identity, because we all
Exactly.
have different masks we wear. You're a father, you're a member of a band, you're a comic book writer, you're a son, you're a sibling. All have these different roles we play.
Right.
And these different identities, and it's so fascinating. I mean, how many of us wouldn't want, at least for a little while, to go and be somebody completely different and just live a completely different life experience for a day or two, just for a change of pace.
Exactly.
It's the one person you can't escape is yourself.
Yeah, totally. It's funny you say that. When I was in high school, I was going between two homes, and I would live with my dad for the summers. And I had a whole different set of friends that I made over there. My dad was in Iowa still, my mom's in Kentucky, and I went back and forth. And I made these friends one summer. And at some point I was talking to one of them, and I mentioned that I had a brother named Rex. And this girl just thought that was the coolest thing ever. I don't know why. And she started calling me Rex, and for whatever reason, just kind of stuck. And so after that, whenever I would go back there for the summers, I went by Rex to this whole like crew of people.
So funny.
And I felt different.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I mean, I wasn't with him. I wasn't the nerd in school there. I was Rex, and Rex was cool. And for whatever reason, I felt quite different those summers that I did during the school year. And I don't know, I hadn't thought about that in a long time until you said that.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Well, from one horror story to another, we definitely have to touch on your run on the Hulk. 30 issues of monsters and mayhem and just, I mean, this book is insane. Nick Klein has done, the majority of the art. It's body horror. It is horrific. And really was, I think a lot of people had sort of forgotten that quote on the cover of Hulk #1, Man or Monster, and Al Ewing on his run on Immortal Hulk really kind of brought that back to the forefront. And you kind of picked up what he did, with the one below all and what have you, and you've really built on that and been exploring the darker corners of the supernatural side of the Marvel universe, to where we get with issue 30. And it has ended, and now we're going to have Infernal Hulk, which by the time this comes out, everybody, the first issue of Infernal Hulk has come out. But this has just been, again, incredible world building, but in a different way than what you're normally doing, I feel like. Because normally it feels really epic. In a way, this feels so much more intimate, and I think because it's scary, and in a way, horror is intimate because it's personal with what, each of us fears.
Right.
And so it has felt a little bit different for me as a reader, and I pretty much read everything that you write. Has it felt different for you writing this and building this story?
Different from my other work, from my other books
from like sprawling superhero epic kind of things, being that it's more horror centric.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like this is, man, I will say it's the issues that I'm writing now, that's going to be coming out throughout 2026, is starting to lean more into the rest of the Marvel U. I'll say that. Up until now, it's felt very much like a folk horror kind of book where each little arc, like 1 to 3 issues, is all kind of its own thing, and it's all very, as you say, very personal. It's about like a character that's afraid of something, and this thing happens, and it's a more grounded kind of story. But that's all. It's all changing with Infernal Hulk now. This is Act 2. We've kind of been putting all the pieces on the board, and now they're all on the board. And now it's going to start tying into the Marvel Universe a lot more in Act 2, building up to Act 3, which is even crazier. But yeah, up till now, it's really been a great opportunity to flex my horror muscles, to to flesh out the Marvel bestiary a lot more, to introduce a whole lot more monsters than we've seen, and also bring out some fan favorite ones. Plus some really personal stories, like issue 27 in particular. I don't know. There's a lot of one shots and like 2-issue things that gave me a chance to, take something out of the back of my mind that's been there for a while. Issue 27 is more of a Hulk versus man kind of thing. The monster in that issue is just a guy, and it's based on someone I knew in real life. Earlier in the run, I do a story about PTSD that's called War Devil, and that's where I introduced Ghost Rider 44. And I don't know, man, it's just been such a joy to work on those stories. And one reaction I've been getting from readers that's so rewarding is that people will come to me at a con or something and be like, "This issue really spoke to me, and here's why." They'll come up to me and tell me about an issue or a couple of issues that made a big impact on me, and they're always different. Like I always hear about different ones that hit them really hard, and I love that. I'm so grateful to hear that, because that's what I wanted. I want every issue to be somebody's favorite. Sometimes I'll get to the end of a script and I'm like, "Is this great? Is this going to be anyone's favorite? I'm not sure." And I kind of want to take some time to try to make it great, to try to, sit on it, sit with it until I figure out a way to make it really matter. Like it can't ever just be a kid smashing toys together in the bathtub. There has to be something meaningful underneath it all. That's another thing I'm always telling my students is like, there's got to be a theme underneath it that makes it like, why should I give a shit about this story? Like what is the frame of this, like the thematic frame underneath this thing that drives the whole thing forward? What are you really telling me that really matters to me in a way that's not just, this character does this to this character? Like what's the thing underneath that really matters? Is this about PTSD? Is this about child abuse? Is this about your fear of death? Is this about your fear of loneliness? Is this about whatever? Like what's the thing underneath it all? That thing has to be there. And this whole series has been kind of a masterclass on how to make that work, like how to make sure that you're always telling a story that matters. Hulk has been the series that really helped me really show that,
Well, the argument can be made that the Hulk is the most tragic superhero there is, right? Like the idea that Banner can never escape, can never be cured, and that kind of thing. Thing maybe similar as well, Ben Grimm. But that's what's so interesting because that is still a part of the story clearly, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen now that Eldis has separated the two. But you have told so many tragic stories here, but the tragedy isn't always focused on the Banner Hulk. As you mentioned, we've explored, child abuse. The character of Charlene, very, very tragic character. Issue 27, with the young boy, very tragic. So, I think it's very relatable in that way. And what it does, what the best kind of horror stories do, it's like, it's relatable because we can understand, okay, there's this tragedy that's overlaying, the horrific monster or the fear or whatever. Like, it's always that emotional part of it. It's not just, oh my God, that's scary, or oh my God, the body horror from Nick Klein is crazy. But there's that emotional aspect of, not only is this scary, not only is this terrible, but it's also sort of profoundly sad in a way, which really reflects the human condition, which I think is one of the great aspects of the Hulk that doesn't get talked about enough, especially there's a lot of people that struggle with anger issues, and in a way he is that rage fantasy that we wish we could go in if we're mistreated at our job or whatever, and smash the table and Hulk smash and whatever. So that's sort of the power fantasy of it, but bringing the human condition aspect of the Hulk as a character, which I think is one of his greatest attributes, to the forefront, I think is what your series has done really, really well. And I don't even know if it was something like overt that you were necessarily thinking about as you were building out this story.
Yeah. Whenever somebody comes to me and tells me that there's about a specific scene that they loved, I mean, with the exception of Nick Klein's transformations, because those are always the highest. Yeah. Those are like my Nick Klein appreciation pages. I always try to have like the 2-page splash of like the transformation. Splash is the wrong word because usually it's a sequence. But seeing the transformations, I want to see it happen from like top left to bottom right.
Yeah.
And they've got to be just gnarly. I always try to give him a lot of stuff in the script to work with, but again, in the end, it's just me telling him the story, and then he cuts loose. So Nick's work aside, whenever they can tell me that something really matters, and this applies to other series as well, it's always an emotional beat. It's almost never like a visual spectacle thing. Like sometimes people will share a thing online and be like, this is awesome. But when it's something that really sticks with them, it's something like Superman sharing a lunch with a construction worker on the girder in the sky, or a really emotional moment with one of his kids, or him and Midnight are in the prisons of Warworld, and like, do you really care more about their life than ours? And he's like, not more, but not less. Those things are the ones that really matter to people. So I just have to make sure those things are always there. There's always got to be some emotionally resonant beat in the book that, because those are the ones that people remember. Like Grant Morrison, Superman. Like, what scene do you think of first?
Yeah, well, you think of him grabbing the girl from behind when she's
grabbing
about
that
to jump
girl
off. Yeah.
Yeah, Grant told me face to face that scene saved someone's actual life. Like doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So those beats have always got to be there.
Yeah, and that's incredible too. When you ask me that, that's of course the first one I think of when there's so much spectacle and so many awesome ideas in that series.
Yeah, totally. Like you got to give your artist heavy, awesome, dynamic things to do as well, and you want people to see those. It can't all be emotion,
right?
Like it can't all be like just acting on somebody's face, but it also can't all be like Michael Bay bombast and spectacle either. And there has to be emotion there, or nobody gives a shit. So anyway, I don't know, man. Comics are awesome.
Yeah,
I love this stuff. And Hulk has been a real masterclass on just reminding myself all the things that must be in every issue to make people continue to really care and be invested in these characters, but also get all the visual craziness that you expect from a Hulk book, and just try to set the bar. We're trying to like change what Hulk comics are too, like the way that it's different, but the way Todd McFarlane like made the webs so much cooler than they used to be. Like when he came on, he made them all goopy and add all the texture and everything that made every other artist on Spider-Man ever hate him after that. I don't want to see any more Hulk comics where he just kind of swells up like a balloon and turns green. I want to see like crazy like skull plates popping apart and brains oozing out and more skull plates coming together and like collarbones ripping out of it's got to be like real stuff now.
Well, I
So
feel
we're
like
just trying to continue to carry that forward.
with the foundation that Al Ewing built and you building on top of it, I don't know how we go back. I mean, again, the back
Right?
there's back matter in here. We've introduced all kinds of new monsters and concepts with Mother of Horrors and what have you. Just don't see the whole concept of what Gamma is has been changed.
Right.
I just we don't go, let's not go back because this is so much more rich and interesting, which is
Exactly.
which
No,
is
I,
really really cool. And
some
go
some of
ahead.
that lore has been so fun to explore too. Like the gamma stuff. It's not just radiation, right? It's like literally the blood of God.
Yeah.
It's the blood and rage of the one above all, and seeing how that. I cannot wait to see that pay off in other books going forward. I want to see that explored a lot more.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is the fact that now that the Hulk is some new like separated from Banner, inhabited by Eldest, and all we saw was the fist punch up. So I'm sure it's going to look different. I mean, we've seen the cover. I'll put it up on the screen for everybody to see the cover in Infernal One. He looks almost
Yeah, look
scarred
at
in a
that.
way, and like so I can't wait to see what this
Yeah.
embodies. But the other thing that, going kind of back to what we are talking about with emotion and resonating, 30's been out for a little while. I wonder if anybody has talked to you about actually feeling bad for I actually, as sort of evil as Eldest has been and all the machinations that they have done, they finally get a chance after that epic battle between Hulk and Abomination, which was like, comic book candy for us comic book readers. But I
Yeah.
actually felt they actually get down there. They do the thing they've been trying to do for 30 issues. They actually get down there and open up the gate and hey mother, wake up or whatever. And she's like gone. She's not there. And,
Vegetative. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like and that spurs Eldest to consume and because she is a body snatcher in a way. But I mean, this is the bad. This is the maybe not the big bad. I mean, we could have that argument because Mother has been more of a concept as
I
opposed to
mean,
actual
she is
character.
now though.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean now because
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, dude. I wanted you to have that moment of sympathy for Eldest.
I
We say
did.
she because we're used to seeing Eldest as a female, but Eldest predates like the concept of sex or gender. Like she's just this body snatching thing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so now it's a he. Now it's in Hulk, and yeah, it wanted to free the mother of horrors. She's brain dead, and so then she consumes her, and she has consumed that corruptive spark, that corruptive seed. I mean, that mother of horrors was. So now it's not as simple as like Eldest just kind of body snatching Hulk. Like Eldest consciousness is in Hulk, and then Hulk devours the mother of horrors, taking that corruptive seed into him, and it kind of makes this new thing. So there's basically a new Hulk alter made of those three parts, if that makes sense.
So a corrupted Hulk that's being controlled
Yeah,
by the
like a
eldest.
like a father of horrors, kind of. So like
Oh, gotcha.
when we see the one side of his body, there's that green scar down his center where Banner was ripped out, and then on one side of his body, that's all like scar tissue and all gnarled up now, and that side of him has this corruptive power that the
That's
mother of horrors had. So now, like back in the day, like this whole series until now, in fact, Hulk has been Banner's monster, and now Hulk is everything's monster. Like it's this thing that has the power to turn all of us, you know?
well. I imagine
So,
Banner's
man,
still going to play a role, and some of my favorite stories have been when they're separated because so many times they always end up coming back together, and it's like they can't live without each other. And there's even I don't know if you've read the John Byrne. It was a pretty short run, but they were separated at one point, and the Hulk started losing cohesion and got like really big and
right?
translucent. And
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
that image where they put Banner back inside him, but Hulk is giant. He's like this little seed inside. So I just think about things
Right.
like that, which can call back, but again, just because we're calling back to those kind of concepts of Banner and Hulk, can't exist without each other. I really do think, again, with what Al did and what you're building on, that we're in a new era of Hulk, which is awesome for a character that's been around as long as he has.
Thanks, man. It's a huge honor to get to write him. And yeah, there's always this balance of doing the new thing, but also respecting the nostalgia as well. Um, like, I mean, we kind of saw that with Starship Hulk, right? We've never seen anything like Starship Hulk before, but because of that, it didn't really feel like Hulk exactly,
Yeah.
and people kind of yearned for Immortal Hulk, and I took note of that. And I also, honestly, I felt the same way. Like I loved Immortal Hulk. I love how just that horror take made so much sense that it's kind of hard to undo it now. It's hard to go back to a time before that. Like Hulk as a superhero is one thing, but the horror take just made so much more sense. So I had to kind of sit with it when they offered me the gig. I had to figure out how I was going to do it and not just copy what Al had done because I loved that so much. And I kind of found my folk horror, Hellboy kind of way in to kind of give it its own voice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's definitely working.
Thank you, man. Dude, I can't wait for you to see issue 1. I mean, I know it's out by the time this hits, but I know I showed it to you, but I need to send you like the proper thing so you can read the whole thing. There's several issues in the can now, and god damn, it's good. Like that first issue is probably the best issue Nick has done to date, and not just of Hulk, but of anything. It's insane.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait.
There's a human character in it I'm very proud of that kind of illustrates Hulk's new power. It goes back to Kentucky. It takes place in Red Creek, Kentucky. And that's kind of fun. I don't know. It's fun for me to pay homage to Kentucky when I can. I live there for a good bit.
Fantastic. Well, again, the announcement's already out. But as we're recording this, it has not come out. But I want to congratulate you on your exclusive contract with Marvel. I imagine you must have hopefully other things coming out. You probably can't talk about them, but
I do.
Plans to do some other work with other characters.
Yes. Yeah, I've got other work coming out with other characters I'm super stoked about. We're building up to something really amazing in Hulk in 2026. I cannot wait for people to see what that is. Basically, there's going to be a big chunk of issues coming out later this year that Nick is doing all of it. So I'm kind of writing the whole series all at once. I'm writing the series kind of out of order. I had to outline it really tightly because I'm writing, issues over the course of the next, year of stuff. Building up to something really amazing. But outside of that, there's another series I'm doing that I'm over the moon excited about. And then another mini-series as well. And yeah, Marvel's getting my best right now. So I'm really excited for where all that's going. I can't wait for everyone to see it. I know I have a lot of DC fans, and I know there's probably going to be some people that are bummed out to hear that I'm leaving Batman and Robin, and that this is going to be the end of my Superman stuff for the moment. But I'm still getting better at this gig, man, and still like comics is about making cool shit with your friends, and that's what I'm doing. Like Marvel came to me, and I've been getting more and more exciting opportunities at Marvel. And when they came to me and told me what they wanted me to do next, or invited me to do next, I don't know. It feels pretty special. Like we're doing some really cool things over there, and got a lot of dear friends both places. But yeah, that's where the exciting stories are left to be told for me at the moment. So Marvel's going to be my home for the next little bit.
Yeah, and fair enough. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't easy to make that decision to leave Batman and Robin. You've been killing it. You mentioned some people, DC fans, being bummed out. I know Rocky's going to be like, "Oh man, are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. Rocky's never on here when I come on, dude. We got to get Rocky on the show with me at some point.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, again, I mean, I'm a fan of your work. I'm going to follow you wherever you go, and I know you probably have more DC stories to tell in the future. And sometimes it's nice, you go over there, you focus on Marvel work for a little while, you kind of recharge your batteries. Maybe you come up with some ideas for DC characters, and then who knows, down the road, you're back at DC doing.
Yeah, there's still more stuff that I would love to do outside of Marvel, not just DC, but elsewhere. And what I would like to do, ideally, is find the time to actually just like finish some miniseries or whatever, just like get them in the can. And then, whenever Marvel and I decide to loosen it up a little, then I can just go and say like, what do you think of this? Let's do it.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm all in on Marvel. I'm super grateful for the opportunity that they're giving me right now. And Yeah, I'm just having a great time, man. If you like my DC work, I'm flexing all the same muscles at Marvel, and the stuff that's coming is really exciting. And I really hope that my DC fans give it a shake because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and we want to let all your DC fans know too. It's not like you're being rushed out the door at DC. You're getting to finish your stories
Totally.
with Book of L and with Batman and Robin on your own terms before you're.
Yeah, those books. Yeah, exactly. We're taking those books to their planned conclusions. Like we're going to finish the Quiet Man arc. We're finishing Adventures of Superman. Um, and yeah, it's not even goodbye forever. It's just like just an exclusive for the moment, and it's going to be great. And we'll see what's next.
Well, it's been fantastic catching up with you, Philip, and everything you have going on. We got to finish up by talking a little bit of holiday traditions. Any big plans for Christmas? Like, what does the Christmas at the Kenny Johnson household look like?
Um, I work a lot. I don't celebrate holidays probably enough, but one thing that I do every year, no matter what, is I take my son out to like cut down a Christmas tree, and we get a live tree someplace
That's
and
awesome.
bring it home. Yeah, that's one thing I just will not give up. Like we'll find a tree farm and go find our own tree. God, what else? There's my son and I'll write out some Christmas Carol type stuff for my son and I to play together. I teach him trumpet, and he also plays drums. He studies drums with an old colleague of mine. So I'll write out some stuff for us to play together, and we'll play some of that for for each other or for friends or family or something. But the big thing is the tree.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Live tree. Yeah, don't give up that tradition because that's rare. When we first moved to Arizona in 2015, I kind of wanted to do that. I was like, let's go back to having a live tree, whatever. Man, we couldn't find a Christmas tree farm within like 200 miles of here, which makes sense.
So yeah, totally.
Yeah, which makes sense. And so we got one of the trees that was kind of trucked in or whatever. And there was the air is here so dry. No matter how much water you give it, it drops so many needles. So yeah,
Totally.
it was 1 year, and then I guess we're not going back to having the live tree. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's just
Someday.
too much. But being that you are such a music guy, I mean, Christmas is such a big deal in my house. My wife goes crazy. She makes this place look amazing. January is always so blah when everything comes out. We have like a full size tree in every room, and it just like it's so amazing. But as soon as Halloween's over, the Christmas music starts in our house and in our cars.
Yeah.
And being that you're such a music guy, like, are you a Christmas song guy? Do you start listening at any particular time?
Not just any old thing, but yeah, I really like the Vince Guaraldi album. It's Christmas time, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
But Guaraldi's other music as well. Let's see what else. Sinatra, excuse me. Sorry, Harry Connick Jr. has a great Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
That's a little more poppy, but it's still quite good. There's we listened to the Ellington Nutcracker Suite a good bit. Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn did an arrangement of the Nutcracker Suite for a big band, for the Ellington band, and that's probably my favorite thing that we listen to here.
Is it a little more brassy, being that it's for big band?
Yeah, well, brass and sax is like the usual big band stuff. So it's like trumpet section, trombone section, saxophone section, and rhythm section.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's right in your wheelhouse.
If you haven't heard it, it's amazing. And playing that thing was like a religious experience. Playing Nutcracker Suite with a great big band is just the best, dude. I love it. I love actually performing that piece. There's all the you recognize every song, but there's just like this really cool swinging version of every take. It's so cool. Yeah. So yeah, the thing is I go to probably the most are the Ellington Nutcracker Suite and the Guaraldi stuff, but Harry kind of gets his share of play, and then some other stuff that you'd recognize, but those are the ones that I care about most, I think.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out because it sounds pretty bombastic. That Ellington.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, again, Philip, happy holidays, man. Merry Christmas. Best to you and your families. Thanks so much for chatting with me. It's been a blast.
Dude, you too. It's always great seeing you.
And to everybody that's taking some time out of their holiday season to join us, we really appreciate it, whether you're listening audio only or on the YouTube. Thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you next time.